Good afternoon, hello and welcome to all of you for today's session. So last week we started the training program for all the aspirants who are going to write the AP ICET entrance exam. If I'm right, the exam is on 2nd of May, so I hope you are preparing. So what APSSDC or AP State Skill Development Corporation is doing, apart from a lot of other skill development training, is also helping students to do well and to get the opportunity for higher studies. So this entire program is conducted by APSSDC for AP ICET aspirants. All right. So if you look at the entire syllabus or entire question paper pattern for AP ICET, by now you will be well versed with what the question paper pattern is all going to be. So there are primarily three sections in your question paper. Section A is analytical ability, Section B is mathematical ability, and Section C is communication ability. And if you see, Section C has been marked with a background yellow, it's been highlighted because I'm going to help you with communication ability. Now let's look at the entire question paper pattern. Section A, analytical ability. So you basically have two topics or two subjects in analytical ability: data sufficiency and problem solving. Data sufficiency, you will get 20 questions. Problem solving, you will get 55 questions. Section B is mathematical ability. You will have three subjects here: arithmetical ability, algebraical and geometric ability, and statistical ability. For arithmetical ability, you have 35 questions. Algebraical and geometric ability, you have 30 questions, and statistical ability, you have 10 questions. Now if we go to the portion section C, which I am going to help you with: communication ability, vocabulary, business and computer terminology, functional grammar, and reading comprehension. So vocabulary and business and computer terminology, you will have 10 questions each. Functional grammar and reading comprehension, you will have 15 questions each. So the total number of questions that you have put together, section A, B and C combined, is 200, which you need to answer in 2.5 hours, which is 150 minutes. So 200 questions basically means 200 marks. Each question carries 1 mark each. So that's the entire pattern. Now any kind of entrance exam, whatever entrance exam you take, there are two basic challenges that students face. Challenge number one, getting as many answers accurate or correct. Number two, to get as many answers accurate or correct within the stipulated time. So the race is with the accuracy, the race is also against the time, because your time is shortening and you will have more number of questions. If you look at this entire pattern, so you have a total of 200 questions, and the time allocated is 150 minutes. What does it mean? So let's show you a quick calculation. Now these are the ways of helping you how to get better in terms of your scores for your entrance exam. All right. So the number of minutes I have is 50. I'll bring it down. And the number of questions you have is 200. Okay. So basically you need to respond to 1.33 questions every minute. So each minute you need to answer those many questions. Only then you will be able to arrive at the destination, which is the 150th minute mark, and you will be done with your paper. Now as far as calculations are concerned for your section A and section B, obviously that is going to take time. It's understandable, it's going to take time. Where you can save a lot of time is your communication ability. Now in communication ability, there are 4 different areas where the questions will come from: vocabulary, business and computer terminology, functional grammar, and reading comprehensions. And please remember, all these questions are multiple choice questions. All right, there is nothing descriptive. Even though it's not descriptive, most of the questions, section A and B, obviously all the questions in section A and section B, you need to spend considerable amount of time doing the calculation and then picking the right answer. So if I have to reverse the entire calculation, that will be 0.75 minutes. All right, so basically 60 plus 15, right? So that's 0.75 minute is what you are getting per question, and most of it will be consumed in your section A and section B. So I want to make your section C as easy as possible. Vocabulary, business and computer terminology, and the third one, functional grammar. These three areas you do not have to spend too much time. Once you read it, you can quickly pick the correct answer. Passage comprehension is where you will face a challenge, because you will have three different passages that you need to respond to. Each passage will have 5 questions each. That's why you have 15 questions in total in passage comprehension. Today I am going to tell you how to be perfect with your passage comprehension. If you look at the topics again for communication ability, vocabulary, business and computer terminology, functional grammar and reading comprehension. So I'm going to do my training backward. I want to do reading comprehension first. Why am I doing it? That is because you have 3 different passages that you need to respond to. Each passage will have 5 questions each. Once that is done, I will train you on functional grammar. Once that is done, we'll go to vocabulary, and in the end I will do business and computer terminology. Next week, 3 to 4 days, I will also pick some sample papers and we will solve these sample papers live in the session. What I will do, I'll project the questions on the screen and I will read out the question with the options. I will give you roughly 5 to 6 seconds so that you can figure out what is the answer, then I will give you what is the correct answer. I will help you understand why one particular answer is correct and the remaining 3 are incorrect, or remaining options are incorrect. All right. So let's begin. So today we are going to talk about passage comprehension. Now before that, what do we mean by passage comprehension? Now that's an important aspect. Passage is basically, you have a paragraph or you can have multiple paragraphs. Majority of the cases you will have just one paragraph. An essay will have multiple paragraphs, but a paragraph means a standalone paragraph. So passage is nothing but a paragraph. You need to read the passage, you need to read the paragraph and respond to certain questions which will be given underneath. Now why do students fail in passage comprehension? Reason number 1, they do not understand the question itself. What do we do when you don't understand the question? You take help of the options. Okay. Reason number 2 why students fail in passage comprehension, because they spend too much time on reading the passage and they don't have enough time to respond to the question. Reason number 3 why they fail in passage comprehension is because they don't understand certain words. Now passage comprehension means comprehension, the word comprehension means understanding, your ability to understand. I'm sorry, I don't speak Telugu, so I will not be able to have this conversation in Telugu, but I'm speaking very slow so that you understand. All right. So in passage comprehension, like I said, there are 3 areas where students fail. Reason number 1 or area number 1, they spend too much time reading the passage, they don't have enough time to answer the questions. Reason number 2, they don't understand the question itself. Number 3, they don't understand certain words. Now when you don't understand certain words, it's a problem with your vocabulary. When you don't understand the question, it's a problem with your comprehension. When you're not able to read the entire paragraph on time, then it's a problem with your approach towards your passage comprehension. So today I am going to make your life very easy. If you spend the next 1.5 hours with me today, I will give you the tips, I will give you the suggestions, I will give you the easy approach to passage comprehension, where your success rate in passage comprehension will be 80 to 90%. That is my promise. But your success will be 80 to 90% only when you practice. You need to practice a lot. Each day practice at least 5 to 6 passage comprehension. After 3-4 days you will become an expert. There are various websites where you can do passage comprehension practice. One such website is IndiaBix. Everybody knows about it, right? INDIABIX, IndiaBix. Click on passage comprehension, you will get so many options there, so many examples there. So start practicing, and it will also tell you if your answer is correct or not. So let's look at the approach. Let's look at how to be successful in passage comprehension. So the reading comprehension tips: number 1, read the passage, underline the key information, which is dates, years, numbers, persons, incidents or events. Anything that is talking about a particular incident which happened in a particular year, a particular time, if it's talking about number of people, if it's talking about a historic incident or a symbolic incident, if it's talking about a person in specific, make a note of these words and these information. All right. Then the next point says make notes. Here comes the important part. Subject of the passage. Try to understand the subject of the passage, which or what is the precise thing the author is talking about. What is the main idea of the passage? What the author is saying about the subject. Tone of the author of the passage, which is the manner in which the author has adopted the passage. Let me give you an example. Okay, let me expand this. I want to give you quick understanding. What do we mean by this? Okay, so the first one is subject. I am going to expand this so that this is easier for you to see and understand. I don't want to use the board because it becomes difficult for me to operate the system. Number 1 is subject. Number 2 is the main idea. Number 3, let's go back, is the tone. Okay. So these are the 3 things that you need to pay attention to in a particular passage. Say for example, I am just giving you an example. The subject is unemployment in India. What is the main idea? The main idea is due to lack of skills. Okay, due to lack of skills, or rather let me make it a little bit different. The main idea is the young educated needs to build skills. Okay, so let me this is the main idea. So my subject of the particular passage is basically the unemployment problem in India, but the main idea says the young educated population in India needs to build skills. and the tone. What do we mean by tone? The tone says the manner in which the author has adopted the passage. The tone of the particular passage the author has picked is sorry. The author is optimistic about the skill development initiatives. So, this could be the subject is unemployment in India. The main idea says because we do not have enough skills, the young population does not have the required skills, that is why there is unemployment. But the tone says, but we have a lot of options, we have a lot of opportunities, there is a lot of potential. So, in case if you read a passage, these are the fine lines that you need to pick to understand what is the subject, what is the main idea, and what is the tone of the author. Reading comprehension tips, it says understand the structure. First of all, you understood what is the subject, main idea, and what is the tone. Then you need to understand the structure. Structure basically means the gist. What do we mean by gist? Gist is the general idea plus structure plus the tone. So, when I showed you this, the subject, the main idea and the tone, when I am adding all this subject plus main idea plus tone, that is nothing but the gist or the summary of the passage. When you look at the summary or when you understand the summary or gist of the passage, this will help you to build a thematic composition and the logical sequence of the passage. You will know what has happened first, what has happened later. Now, what has happened first, what has happened later? Say for example, I am talking about the father of our nation, Mahatma Gandhi. So, he was born in 1969 and he helped us get freedom in 1947. In 1942, he started Quit India movement, right? So, 1969, 1942, 1947. The sequence is this, but my passage can be the other way around. My passage can be in 1947, India got the freedom. The freedom struggle was extremely difficult. It got all the encouragement due to the Quit India movement in 1942. I hope my knowledge of the year is correct. I am going backward. Why he is revered as the father of the nation? Then I talk about his childhood and I say he was born in 1969. His birth in 1969 is towards the end of the passage, but 1947 freedom struggle is on top, which means my sequence of the year is not in the chronological order in the passage, but when you understand the summary or the gist of the passage, you will be able to understand what is the sequence, what happened first, what happened later. So, when you read the passage, then you will understand. Okay. Now, there are various approach of reading comprehension. The first approach is, instead of reading the entire passage, read critically the first and the last paragraphs. Generally, what the author is saying can be identified in the first few lines of the passage. For the rest passage, examine quickly what the author has said about the subject. For longer passages, try to put down 10 to 15 words for each paragraph what you feel are the central points of the passage. So, if I have a passage like this, I will read the first 2-3 lines or first 2 lines or 2 sentences. Laws of nature are not commands but statement of acts. The use of the word law in the context is rather unfortunate. Then I will read the last paragraph, the last line, the last sentence. On the contrary, we say that law has been incorrectly stated. So, that will give me an idea what exactly the author is trying to say, if I read the first 2 sentences and the last 2 sentences. The next approach is identify the structural words that tell you the important ideas or transition in the passage. The most common structural words are given below. So, each passage will have certain words which can be termed as structural words. These structural words are categorized: continuity words, contrast words, conclusion words. There are some examples I have mentioned. What are the continuity words, contrast words or conclusion words? But before we look at the example, what do we mean by these? What is a continuity word? What does a contrast word do? And what does a conclusion word do? What is the function of it? So, here is the function for you. When you have a continuity word, it means the author would support his point of view. Let us look at what are the continuity words. For example, similarly, moreover, additionally, same way, likewise. Let me quickly give you an example. Now, examples will always help you understand better, right? So, let me quickly pick example for you. So, right now I am doing continuity words. Okay. Now, in continuity words, I have words like similarly, moreover, additionally, in the same way, likewise. Okay. Now, let us use the first word similarly. All right. So, I said this, the questions in entrance exams are tricky. Students should read carefully. Similarly, in an interview, the questions can be tricky. The students should listen carefully. So, the first one I said should read carefully, then I am saying listen carefully, but I am basically saying your entrance exam is just like your interview. So, what do we mean by continuity words? It says the author would support his point of view further. So, basically he is saying the same thing, he is supporting it. Another example, moreover, additionally, in the same way, likewise. So, these are all continuity words. What do we mean by contrast words? Contrast words, the author would introduce a contrarian point of view. Contrarian means opposite. Continuity means I am supporting it. I said one thing, I am saying the second thing and I am supporting both, means both are same. But when I talk about a contrast words, these are contrarian point of view. Basically, I am going opposite way. What are the words? Let's look at some of the words. Nonetheless, however, but, although, despite. Let's look at the examples. The students could not get enough time to practice. Nonetheless, they perform well in their exam, which means the student could not get enough time to practice, which is basically I am saying this is bad, right? Nonetheless, they performed well in their exam. Now, this is good. So, I am saying bad, then I am going opposite to it, good. That is what contrast words are all about. Nonetheless, they performed well. For example, let me pick another sentence here. The manager was unhappy with the employee for being late for the meeting. However, the manager was unhappy with the employee for being late for the meeting. However, he gave him an award for being the best performer of the month. The manager was only unhappy because of the meeting. He did not reach on time. Bad. However, he gave an award because he is the best performer for the month, which is good. So basically, I am taking an contrarian point of view. Now, the point that needs to be noted here, you have a word which is however, and you have a word but, right? What is the difference? Can anybody tell me what is the difference? When I say anybody tell me, just think about it. However is more of a positive tone, but is negative tone. All right? For example, I can give you the money, but you need to return it today. Instead of but, if I use I'm sorry, however, it sounds more positive, but both are contrarian words or contrast words. Okay. Likewise, but, although, despite. Now, conclusion word. Conclusion word means the author would sum up his argument so far. Thus, therefore, hence, in summary, in conclusion. Okay, let's look at the example. The online sessions are broadcasted across the state. This is done for the benefit of the ICET aspirants. Hence, they are, sorry for the spelling mistake, expected to do well, which means now I am concluding. That means I am arriving at a conclusion. All right. So, let us look at the example again. Continuity words, similarly, moreover, additionally, in the same way, likewise. Contrast words, nonetheless, however, but, although, despite. Conclusion words, thus, therefore, hence, in summary, in conclusion. So, these are different kind of words that are used where you can identify what the author is trying to say. Okay. Now, approach number 3. So, you can either look at these words or you can try to recognize the words that represent positive and negative role in the passage. These words will let you decide whether the author is for or against the subject. A few examples of such words are given below. If you see these words, you will be able to identify what is the tone of the passage. Remember, I spoke about the subject, the main theme and the tone. By looking at usage of these words, you will be able to understand what is the tone. Is he for or is he against the subject? Let's take an example. Let's look at an example here. Positive words, for example, efficient, enthusiastic, bright, fortunate, passionate. Sorry. Negative words, for example, foul, alarming, detrimental, pessimistic, stressful. These are all negative words. By looking at these words, you will be able to identify what is the tone or what is the approach of the author towards the subject. Is he supporting it or is he opposing it? All right. Now the reading comprehension approach number 4, PQ approach, which means passage first, question next. I'm sorry, I got a bad throat, so you need to excuse me for this. When I say passage PQ approach, basically I will read the passage, then I will read the questions. What do we do in this scenario? We read the entire passage thoroughly first and then read the questions, scan through the passage and keep going back and forth with the question and passage. Read the first 2 paragraphs, scan all the questions and see what you can answer. Then read para 3 and 4, scan the questions and see what you can answer. Then read para 5 and 6. Basically what it means is, if you have a paragraph, read the passage first or read the first half of the passage, immediately go to the question and see if you are able to answer any of those 5 questions because you have just read the first half of the passage. If you are able to answer those 5 questions, any of those 5 questions, amazing. That means the remaining question will be from the remaining part of the passage. Alright, that's simple because that will help you save time. Another approach is QP approach, which is I will read the questions first, then I will read the passage. Read all the questions with their answers, option first, and then go to the passage. Read question 1 with all the options, then go through the entire passage to answer it. Then read question 2, go through the entire passage, then question 3. Just read all the question stems without reading the answer options. Then read the passage and try answering the question by reading them with the options. Now what this means is, this is also very effective. What this means is, you have a passage. From that the questions will be there. Each question will have 4 options or 5 options. PQ approach or passage first, question next means approach number 4. Basically it means you will read the first half of the passage, answer question 1, question 2 or 3 or 4 or 5, whichever you can answer, finding an answer. If you can't find an answer, go back, read the second half of the passage as well. QP approach means you read only the question, not the option. You immediately look at the questions only, don't look at the options. Read all the 5 questions. Now that you have read all the 5 questions, you will know what exactly to find in the passage and you can go back or break it down a little further. Read question number 1 and the options, read the entire passage. You will be able to answer question 1 now. When you go to question 2, you will remember a little bit of passage because you have just read like a minute ago. Likewise, when you go to question 3, you don't have to read the entire passage again. Now you will know where the answer of the question lies. These tricks are important because you have very limited time. You cannot read the entire passage because in the entirety of the entire passage, your answers for the question will be only in probably 30 or 35% of the passage. The remaining 60 or 65% of the information in the passage is of no use. Don't waste your time on that. That's why I suggest read the questions first, don't look at the option, read the question, go back to the passage, find where the answers are, read the passage. When you go to question 2, you will be able to find where the answers are. Clear? Now when you do certain practice sessions, it will be much more easy for you. Say for example, I have this particular passage over here. Okay. Now I am going to look for something which is going to be easy for you. Okay. Something which is not very big. Just a moment. I am looking for a passage which is not too long. Okay, whatever I'm getting here is these are all long passages. Okay. So I have a very small passage here. I'm sorry. So there are two approaches we are talking about: passage first, question next. Then the next approach is question first, passage next. So this is the entire passage. So I can read the entire passage, then look at the questions one by one. Okay. If it's QP approach, I will look at the question first. The question says frozen rut means. Don't look at the option, only look at the question. Frozen rut means. Now I will just write down on my paper, I need to find out what is frozen ruts in the entire passage. Then I will go to the next question, which says the floor of the forest was soft because I need to find out about the floor of the forest. Then I will go to the next question. Now likewise I will read only the question stem. Question stem means whatever is marked here on the screen in red font without the option. We did not mind the hardness of the road because. All this I will remember. I will quickly go to the passage and I will read the passage now. When I read the passage, I will be able to find where the answers are. For example, let's read this. Sometimes we went off the road and on path through the pine forest. Pine is a tree. The floor of the forest was soft to walk on. The frost did not happen as it did the The floor of the forest was soft to walk on. The frost did not happen as it did the road. But we did not mind the hardness of the road because we had nails in the soles and heels. Nails bit on the frozen ruts. With nail boots, it was good walking on the road and invigorating. Now, invigorating, you will find it a little difficult to understand what it means. But if you look at the entire passage, probably you can find an answer. Then it says, it was lovely walking in the woods. Now, when we say woods, it means forest. Now, the question is, frozen ruts mean very cold road, wheel marks in which frost had become hard. Frost means snowfall. Wherever there is a snowfall, after a day, it becomes very hard. If you go to Kashmir, if you go to some other countries outside India, and if you go to like the state of Kashmir, Jammu and Kashmir, you will see snowfall happening, Shimla and all that. After a day, it becomes hard like rock. So frozen ruts mean very cold road, wheel marks in which frost had become hard, the road covered with frost, hard road covered with snow. Now, where do you have the word rut? Sometimes we went off the road and on the path through the pine forest. The floor of the forest was soft to walk on. The frost did not happen it as it did the road. But we did not mind the hardness of the road because we had nails in the soles and heels. Nails bit on the frozen ruts and nail boots. It was good walking on the road. So basically, frozen rut means the road covered with frost. So once you read the question, go back to the passage, it will be a little easier for you to find out what is the correct option. Alright. So we'll take a quick break now. After we come back from the break, we will solve 3 to 4 passages and we will apply what we have learned so far. Clear? So take a break, come back, and we'll look at least 3 to 4 examples of passage comprehension. I'll see you soon. Thank you.